I'm gonna open the door. What do you want?
What?
You said knock knock, and I opened the door.
Okay, but what if I was an axe murderer? Like, I'm Michael Myers, I'm very polite, I knocked on the door instead of just barging right in, and now you're murdered. You're dead.
This knock knock joke sucks. Welcome to the Suplex Siblings web series, where we talk about all things entertainment, mostly in the sports entertainment realm,
And tell really awful jokes.
Yeah, we tell really awful jokes, but today we're talking about something a little different from the world of wrestling, pro wrestling that is. We are talking about video games today.
Something that you love and I am intrigued by.
I'm Chris.
I'm Crislyn, and I know next to nothing about video games. I appreciate
From afar.
the storytelling, the cinematography, the animation, all the art that goes into the creation of a video game. I just do not have the necessary skills that it requires to play.
She's tried. And,
I have tried. Not my forte. I've never been great at sports, and apparently my thumbs also don't work that way. So I'll just stick to being really creative and really cool. Alright, so I have a little bit of notes here, but basically what we're gonna do is he is going to give me a title of a game that I know next to nothing about, and I am going to just, spitball here what I think the plot is. And just fair warning, I am trolling 500%.
because she has no idea.
I don't. Some of them I have a general idea. Some of them I have seen, but I really don't know. So I just decided to make it fun for myself, and you're all gonna hate me if you are a video game connoisseur. So just a fair warning, if you are easily triggered by terrible descriptions and trolling on the umpteenth level, click away, because you're gonna cry. So what's first? What game we go first?
Well, before I name this first game, I just wanted to say, after I name the game, she's going to guess what the plot is, and then I'll give her the actual description of the plot. Some of these games don't necessarily have a full-on plot, so I might just have to say, this is what the game is about. But for the most part, they do have a general plot to them. And without further ado, the first game that I'm going to list is Fallout.
Okay, so I have seen this game. I know nothing. I don't know what this plot is. I just know that it's beautiful. The scenery is magnificent. But say I'd never seen it, if I just hear that title, my initial thought, first of all, is when you're trying to apply eyeshadow and you start to get sprinkles on your cheek, it is really obnoxious and annoying. That's what that is. But in terms of gameplay, I would assume that Fallout is about a man in his 20s who begins experiencing premature male pattern baldness, and thus embarks on a journey across the country to locate a scientist with the ability to clone his existing hair follicles and implant them into his head permanently. Fallout.
Close! Very close!
I thought so. I thought so.
Now, here's the actual description. It is a series of games, so they are technically different in plot, but they all have the same general basis of what they are. So the actual official description of Fallout is a series of satirical post-apocalyptic role-playing video games.
Exactly what I just said.
The series is set during the 22nd and 23rd centuries, and it is in, atom punk retro-futuristic setting.
The setting in which someone would clone their hair follicles.
Yeah.
To be fair.
And it's influenced by the post-war culture of 1950s America, with its combination of hope for the promises of technology and lurking fear of nuclear annihilation. So I'd say that is a very spot on,
very close.
Very close.
Because
description. Everybody
knows the bald men are the first to die in a nuclear explosion. I mean, that's just science.
Yeah, that's why they're bald. Because everyone knows your hair is what protects you from nukes.
I am fully protected. Okay, what's he got for me next? Everyone, I can feel them all like cringing and seething.
Alright. The next game is Neverwinter.
So this is obviously about climate change. It's very political, very 2018. I'm with it. And you play, I assume, this like Bear Grylls type of man on a mission to stop global warming himself. Personally, he's going to stop global warming. So he proceeds to physically fight anyone who disputes the existence of global warming, as well as flat earthers, because they're just annoying. So, Neverwinter.
Again, very close.
Yes.
Here's the actual description. Neverwinter is a free-to-play, massively multiplayer online role-playing game, and it is based in the fictional Forgotten Realms city of Neverwinter from the Dungeons & Dragons series.
Nice.
Now, the actual story of the game is actually about the Lich Queen, Valindra. She attacks the soldiers of Neverwinter, of New Neverwinter, that is, and it is basically, without going too into the plot, it is you're creating your character and trying to stop bad things from happening. No. Close.
Global warming is
no.
a very bad thing.
More like global lichdom.
Oh.
Moving on.
Okay. Works for me.
Next game
I play
is
that.
another series of games. It's Assassin's Creed.
So I'm very familiar with this one. I do know this one. However, if I weren't, it's obviously about a very religious assassin who's on a mission to spread the gospel. And that's it. That's the whole story.
You know, you're not technically wrong.
Okay.
Because, I mean, hey, you are playing, an assassin that he's not necessarily religious, but he is kind of saying, hey, this is what we gotta do.
Ethics. Kill people morally, please.
However, the main premise of the game, you're playing as the protagonist, Desmond Miles. He's been put
Great name.
into a sort of simulation where he's reliving the lives of his ancestors. And his ancestors are assassins. They've all been there. I guess, most of his ancestors, he's got a great line of assassin ancestors that he's trying to put the pieces together. The main real-world plot behind this is everyone's fighting over a golden apple.
So,
I mean,
basically the Bible.
Yeah, that's why, you were pretty close. Fighting over an apple,
Love it.
etc., etc.
Love it.
It's
Next.
Now this next one, I honestly did not expect you to really get it, other than, the name kind of gives a little bit away, but other than that, Dragon's Dogma, I honestly expected, you obviously assume that there's something to do with the dragon. So
a very religious dragon on a mission to spread the gospel. I really, really had high hopes for this one.
I don't want to say you're wrong, because, I mean, like I said before, you're not technically wrong, but yeah, let's see the actual meaning, or the actual plot of the game.
Bring it.
This is another game where you create your own character. You're not a set character. You start out in a village. Everything's peaceful. Everything's going great.
At
All
least
of
you're
a
not in
sudden-
like a wagon like Skyrim over and over again with
Yikes.
some Russian guy who's just
It's
like,
gonna ruffle some feathers. Russian? Oh
or
man.
whatever. What is he? I don't know.
Anyway,
Scandinavian.
so the game.
Someone.
you're in a village. It's your home
I know
village.
geography.
Gets attacked by a dragon. It's a big dragon, and the dragon eats your heart. Now, yeah, that's how it starts. So the whole point of the game, you're somehow alive, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
When you wake up, everyone
So-
thought you should be dead.
Plot hole.
Yeah.
He's dead. Like what? And let me just say, I write novels for a living. If I had written that, do you know how many people would review my book on Goodreads saying, plot hole, in the first like 3 seconds of reading this, you ripped out this guy's heart, you, the dragon, and they're still alive. Tell me more.
The dragon actually ate the heart.
That's even better.
He swallowed it.
Love it. Religious practices
however-
are different for everybody.
When you finally wake up, you hear the voice of the dragon in your head.
Mm-hmm.
You're kind of just thinking like, what is going on?
So you are connected with this
So you become
dragon.
connected with
Oh
the
my
dragon.
God. Wait, this sounds really cool.
So this,
Actually.
it's basically, this is your destiny sort of thing. Just like every game or every story, there's always someone who has some great destiny to fulfill. Obviously, the main mission that you have is to get your heart back.
I would imagine, because at
course,
some
from the
point you're
dragon.
gonna be like,
What the heck, dude?
I kind of, I'm not functioning properly.
So, you're trying to get your heart back. Eventually, you make some friends, etc., etc.
As one does when they are heartless.
However, after you get your heart back, you realize that there is a whole lot more depth to it than you first thought.
This is a beautiful story.
This is.
I'm very intrigued, and I would like to watch somebody play this.
Well, it turns out in the actual story too, you're actually stuck in a time loop. Everything is happening over and over again because after you get your heart back from the dragon, there's a whole thing you got to do, and
Like
everyone's at
every
peace
episode
all of a
of
sudden.
The Flash.
Yes, every episode of the Flash,
On a
going
time
back in
loop.
time.
Come on.
But you have to, fight basically God and kill God, and then you
Okay.
become God, and
Oh,
then
no.
after you become God, then you.
Now it's now they're just like, I took one story and another one, sandwiched them together. I was very intrigued until that part. Now I'm like, wait.
Well, you see,
Now he's not only a dragon.
it gets better.
He is also God.
It gets better. After you become God, then you, for some reason, kill yourself as God, and it resets the time loop, and then suddenly at the end of the game, you're fighting yourself
I
as
feel
God
like
again.
there should have been a spoiler alert somewhere. See, I'm here to protect you game players. Spoiler alert.
This game is from like 6 years ago. I think it's fine. It's way past spoiler.
Moving on. Moving on.
Yes, moving on. This one might actually make some people mad.
Yes.
Because it's a
I'm
very
ready.
popular game, very competitive game, Rocket League.
I've heard of this one. I know what it is. However, if I just heard the name, it would, like any rational human being, I would think that this is a game in which NASA employees create a sports league for athletically challenged youth titled Rocket League. That you, player one, ultimately realize is a cult, and you have to save as many nerds as you can before they catch you and send you into outer space for exposing their cult.
Close. Very, very close. In fact,
It's so funny
No.
because I actually know what this
Yeah,
one is. This is actually great.
it's,
I just think this would have been a better premise. No offense.
well, the actual game, it's a combination of soccer and racing, or football, for those of you that may be from countries outside of the
But
US.
technically it is football.
Yes,
It's
football,
Like
yes.
It's with your foot.
Yes. But there really isn't much of a plot to it, so I mean, maybe that is the plot.
You
to the
know,
game.
because when those cars are trying to, score goals and stuff, they're really trying to divert you from the fact that we're in a cult.
And also save the human race at the same time.
Save the
Because,
nerds, because
I
they
mean,
just trusted NASA. They're
yeah.
like, I want to play sports, and I can't because my body isn't working that way, but I'm very smart, so NASA was like, here you go, here's a sport. Also, welcome to the cult. So, just...
Moving on. Okay, this game, it's an interesting one because it's something that has been written about and been done before, but the game itself is pretty unique. It is similar to other games, but like I said, it does have its own different plot points that it takes from everything else. It's called Smite.
All caps.
All capitals.
Smite. So this is clearly the aftermath of both Assassin's Creed and Dragon's Dogma, in which all of the naysayers are being struck by lightning for disbelieving the word of the Lord's trusted assassin and pet dragon, and you play the only pure human being who believes, and is struck by lightning accidentally and becomes Thor, and you have to save the mortals from the wrath of God by teaching them just, how to believe. Because that's what Thor does.
Now, I will say you got one thing right in that. Thor.
Thor!
This game
Yes!
is actually... there are a couple different modes in it. It is a multiplayer game. Basically, the premise of it is you play as a god. You could play as any of the Greek gods, the Roman gods, etc., the Norse gods,
I'm into it.
all of the mythologies. Thor is in the game, so good on you for that. However, the game is actually just the gods duking it out to see who's the best.
They're not battling humans.
They're just
They're
fighting.
They're actually,
Yeah.
living by some ethics here, being like, we would murder them, let's just face each other.
Yeah,
Let's just do
pretty
that.
much.
I like it. I think that's a lot better than my premise. Mine was a little bit dark.
The actual full title for the game is Smite Battleground of the Gods. So
You see, if he had gone there, I would have thought, like, the Hunger Games, but gods.
almost, except not, because yeah,
Okay.
the Hunger Games. Now this one is a little interesting because this particular game is actually fairly recent. It has been in a sort of alpha beta state for a while. However, it was recently fully released to everyone. It's called Dead Cells.
So this is obviously a very educational game about the importance of exfoliation. Because if you don't exfoliate your skin, your dead cells just kind of sit there, clog your pores. It's rough, my friends, literally. So, education, dead cells, get them off your body. Exfoliate.
Well, actually,
What are you saying?
here's the official plot description of Dead Cells. It says the plot of Dead Cells is minimalistic, only giving bits of information to the player. But it does take place on an unnamed island. The player character is referred to as the Prisoner, which is a humanoid with a pile of jelly or plant matter in place of a head. And the Prisoner is a silent protagonist. Occasionally shows some personality traits such as confusion or frustration. However, the Prisoner is immortal, as every time he or she dies, their head manages to lurch its way back to the starting prison.
This is the kind of game that makes me very concerned if reincarnation is actually real. Now I'm terrified. Oh my god.
So this is one of the games that I guess it could be considered a trick question because it doesn't technically have a full plot. It's kind of something that you have to figure out for yourself.
You just have a jelly head. And you keep coming back as
the way the game itself plays.
Headless person.
The way the game itself plays, it's a side-scrolling platformer. So there's no, 3D-esque models. It's just a side-scroller. It's a really fun game, but very minimalistic plot. So I guess that is a trick question. Sorry. This next one is interesting
no
though.
Apologies needed here. I am having a blast. Okay.
Dark Souls.
Okay.
This is another game that has it's a series. There's multiple games in it.
This one, honestly, seems like it would just be a lot of fun. Very enjoyable. Obviously, in this world, Dark Souls is a sitcom starring demons and the actual devil. And you, the player, are the only person who recognized that this hit TV series is actually hypnotizing its viewers. And you are tasked with, obviously making your way to Hollywood to slay the actual devil. Dark Souls. Yes.
No.
No.
Yikes.
Tell me more.
Yikes. This is... Oh my! I love these games. That kind of hurt a bit. It's another game series that it does have a technically minimalist plot, but that's only because there are a lot of things that you, the player, have to infer or assume. However, there are a lot of things that you can decipher very easily, or that the game tells you. It is not about
the actual devil.
The actual devil, and it's not about being
There
hypnotized.
seems to be a theme with all of my plots here. I must be having an existential crisis today. Carry on.
I'm gonna read you the official description for the first game.
Okay.
It says the opening cutscene establishes the premise of the game.
Mm-hmm.
The world was once shrouded by gray fog and ruled by dragons. In this time period, Gwyn happens upon the first flame and finds the Lord's souls. He and his allies use their power to defeat the dragons, beginning the Age of Fire. Over time, the flames begin to fade with the rise of humans, and Gwyn sacrifices himself and his soul to prolong the Age of Fire. With the flame artificially rekindled, the undead curse begins to plague humanity, causing certain humans to continually resurrect upon death.
Whoa. That actually sounds really cool.
And the player character is actually one of the cursed undead, locked away in an undead asylum. And this is how the game starts. And
dark tuck everlasting.
after you escape the asylum,
Continue.
after you escape the asylum, the player travels to Lordran, which is the name of the place, to ring the bells of awakening. Blah blah blah. King Seeker Framped, giant lizard man. He shows up, tells you, hey, you need to do this thing to ascend to Anor Londo.
Like Dimitri in
He basically gives
Sly Cooper.
No, not at all. But he gives you a
Not
mission.
at all.
He gives you a mission to go to this place. He's saying, hey, you got to do this and that to get here. And once you get there, you have to basically you're trying to kill the Lord of Cinder, or not the Lord of Cinder, you're trying to collect the Lord's souls again, I feel like I'm butchering this even though I love these games, and it's kind of sad. People are going to hate me for it.
I think I'm the hated party here today, but continue.
You're trying to, at the end of the game, you figure out, hey, Gwyn's alive, you got to kill him, you got to rekindle the flame again.
You're just trying to win.
Yeah, you're just trying to win. That's the plot of the game. You're just trying to beat Gwyn and say,
I feel like I
won
could
out.
have been very safe with all of these games if I had just said,
You're
win.
trying to win.
Win. That's the plot.
Yeah.
Okay, what do we have? Last one? Or is it?
Not necessarily the last one. I think I have a couple of ones that I'm going to throw at you on the spot. But this next one is very near and dear to everyone's heart.
Yes.
Ha ha ha. Kingdom Hearts.
I love this game though. I really do. I love this game.
She
I
knows
played,
enough about it, but
I know this. I know the plot. I love this game. However, let's put me back into my ignorance that was there for the last however many games. Kingdom Hearts is clearly an Alice in Wonderland spin-off / retelling. But this time the Queen of Hearts falls
Okay, we're
through the
moving
rabbit
on.
hole.
We're
No,
moving on.
she ends up inside an actual card deck in the palm of an amateur magician on the streets of Las Vegas. And the final boss is Chris Angel. I would play this. I have played Kingdom Hearts and I do love it, but you have to admit, that would be a great game. Who do I need to call to make this a thing? Blizzard? I will call
Wrong
you.
company.
Someone.
Wrong
I think
company.
that's the only game company that I
sponsored.
am aware of.
No, just kidding. No, not a sponsor.
You can sponsor
you
us.
can.
I know a lot about your products, as you can see.
She knows, hey, there's a guy with a mask. His name is Reaper. There's a chick with the blue skin. Her name is Widowmaker.
And I'm a fan of the lore of Overwatch. But the fact that it is an actual, like a shooter type. I mean, rewind back to like 2011, Call of Duty myself trying desperately to, accomplish something at this game. We learned then, at that point in time, I am doomed when it comes to any sort of shooter-esque game. So I don't even try anymore. Mantra for life: if you suck at it, stop trying. I think we need to end this video now.
I have one more wild card for you, though.
No.
When it comes to the Kingdom Hearts, there's way too much to explain.
Yes.
I think that just, everyone kind of already
We know.
just kind of rage quit after you said that.
Wow.
So we're moving to the last one here.
Okay, if you're still here, thank you.
Blood-
Subscribe.
Bloodborne. This game is actually created by the same makers of Dark Souls.
So, I'm, on the spot here. Bloodborne. Obviously, this is a game in which you have to battle your parents. Get it? Because you're bloodborne. You're born of blood. Your birth parents. Something. I kind of lost myself after we went down that rabbit hole. Literally, but
Actually,
that's the only one I will apologize for.
Actually, Bloodborne, it's very similar to Dark Souls in that it's, a minimalistic plot.
Mm-hmm.
This one does technically have more plot that you unravel slowly throughout the game. It is kind of a steampunk-esque setting,
Ooh.
but not quite. I think the most interesting part is it combines an RPG aspect with a sort of horror game.
Ooh.
Because there are a lot of things that happen in the game that are kind of just, what is this? People transforming into giant wolves or, like a crow person. Yeah. One of the selling points is actually in the very beginning when you actually see from a first-person point of view from your created character that this old man is just, operating on you. You're just like, what's going on here, bud?
I don't ever want to play this again.
You don't see anything like cut open or
So
anything?
basically, someone was playing the board game Operation one day, and they were like, oh my god, what if this guy woke up right now?
Oh, man. That's
Wow.
disturbing.
I think on that note, I hope
Yikes.
in some way, shape, or form you enjoyed this video. If I offended you, party on, my friend.
I'm
It's
offended,
okay.
and I don't get offended.
Everything
I was
will
prepared
be
for
okay.
this, and I was offended by it.
Everything will be fine. Give this video a thumbs up because somewhere in your heart you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel because you're a masochist and you really like to, offend yourself internally. And we put out new videos every Monday and Thursday because we are overachievers, it might seem. So, well, I think I need to go sit down in a different spot than I am sitting right now. And we will see you guys in the next video.